Hello everyone, and welcome back to Nier Reincarnation. I'm G, and we have things to do that are not the main quest. Because I don't actually know if we can access the main quest at the moment, because we are in Mama's room. But since that heart-wrenching end to the game, I did one singular summons of 10, and pulled 2 more 4 stars, which is really exciting. One of which is the heroine from Drakengard. I want to say? 0, I believe, is the hero from Drakengard 3. Not 100% sure, but who knows? We've also got a 4-star Argo, which is Nito Burrito. But that's not what we're here for. What we are here for is plot. So this is probably going to be an episode where I don't actually talk much, because I'm probably going to let the stories speak for themselves. Because there are a lot of stories to do. First of all, there is Zero's story. There is Lavania's story. There is Akeha's story. And that's not even getting into the actual character quests, which are the things that we already did with Akeha before. We've got 3 more characters? What the frick? And then, Dark Memory quests, which, as far as I'm aware, I don't remember exactly how I did get the Dark Memory quests. I think you have to clear let me just go up to story quests. So now that I've gone through things, I can try things on normal, hard, or, in the case of the first 6 chapters, very hard. I don't think I can do... Oh yeah, I can do very hard. What the shit? Oh, I have to have cleared it on hard before I can access very hard. That makes sense. So we're not gonna get all of the Dark Memory quests, whatever the shit they were, at this point in time, but I will assure you that I'm not gonna give up on those. I am just going to save them for another episode. But, for now, realistically, I'm not going to be saying anything, so this is going to be a very strange episode. So, yeah, enjoy the various things, and I will see you at the end of the episode.
A woman and a dragon, both covered in wounds, trudge across a beach. The woman's name is Zero. She is a powerful swordswoman with a flower where her right eye should be. The dragon's name is Mikhail. He is a young white dragon with the power of speech. Both of them stand on the doorstep of death. Blood flows freely from their wounds. It leaves a snaking trail of red along the coast. The army that has been following this trail now closes in on them. "Kill the traitors," they cry. This is the end. They can run no further. The woman grips her sword, steeling her resolve. The dragon lets fly with a howl in response. It cannot end here. They must live. The soldiers rush at them like waves from the sea. The swordswoman fights back, blood spraying from her wounds. In the midst of it all, something appears in the corner of her reddened vision. She sees the dragon collapse. Countless blades stick out from his white flesh. As the dragon lies in the sand, he ekes out a meager cry. The woman's hair rises in anger, and she immediately cleaves the soldier before her in twain. Sand flies as she rushes to the dragon's side. I won't let you die. The woman stands in front of the dragon to shield him. Thump. The next thing she knows, an arrow is embedded deep into her chest. As she reaches up to pull it out, another follows. She lifts her head and stares at her enemy. But a third arrow finds its mark in her eye, as though they had been aiming for that very spot. Her sword slowly falls from her bloody fingers. The woman's beating heart slows, and then stops. The soldiers raise a mighty cheer. The traitor has been struck down. With only the dragon left, the soldiers move in to finish it off. But then, the woman's corpse begins to scream. As if responding to the scream, the flower in her eye glows red. And in the next instant, it swells up to an incredible size. Suddenly, another human spills from the flower, covered in blood. It is the swordswoman, reborn. She is a demon with the strength of the flower on her side. This cannot be the end. This cannot be the end. The revived woman attacks the soldiers with empty hands. She strikes down one after another with sheer brute force. But she is still greatly outnumbered. Swords penetrate her body, one after the next. She screams again and again and again. Yet each time, she is reborn from the flower. Her limbs are severed, her skull is shattered, her heart is pierced. Yet she comes back each time and falls upon her foe with renewed fury. It is a never-ending nightmare. Finally, the woman collapses in the sand. Her sharp, ragged breaths slowly take on a sense of normalcy. The battle is over. The only sound is that of the waves enveloping the crimson beach. Soon, the dragon's eyes flutter open. He looks over the mountains of dead soldiers, then back to the woman. Thanks for saving me, Zero. His voice is that of an innocent child, a terrible mismatch for its massive size. I only did what anyone should, the woman replies. The woman knows one absolute in her life. She must protect him. A flower blooms in her right eye. It is a cursed, loathsome power that would destroy the world. And only a dragon can extinguish it. Once you grow up and become stronger, I will have to tell you of my final wish. But until then, I will protect you, no matter how many of my lives it may cost. Corpses litter the wastes, endless mountains of corpses. Each one belongs to a most uncanny creature. Standing in the middle of them all is a dark monster. The bodies look much like himself, but he pays them no mind as he drags from them what he desires. It is dreams, you see. He craves dreams. To monsters such as himself, there is nothing more sublime. He inhales the dreams and growls in anger. Is that all? He angrily hurls the bowl away from him and watches it shatter with a terrible sound. The echo in the wastes lasts a lifetime, as though urging him forward. What a trifling dream. I could eat 1,000,000 like it and still not be satisfied. Ah, but something has heard his grumbling, and from behind a nearby rock comes a sneaking voice. I have something to tell you, it says as a set of eyes peer out from the darkness. I believe I could be of great service to you. Now come, tell me your story. Despite how the eyes glint in the shadows, the dark monster senses no life behind them. Though he is doubtful, starvation spurs him forward. His problem will not be solved without risk. Come now. Slowly, the dark monster approaches the pair of glimmering eyes. He once had lived without goals, without purpose. The dark monster was drawn to the brilliant dreams other monsters had. He desired them so intensely. It was a hunger, a pain, a rage. Unable to fight against the impulses deep within himself, he finally attacked other monsters, his own kind. He forced down any that resisted and devoured their stolen dreams. The first time he did so, his hollow heart exploded with overwhelming bliss. It was a rich sense of satisfaction, paralyzing in its intensity. Almost as if the desires from the original owners of the dreams were a seasoning for his own. And as he ate, a thought occurred to him. I wish to become human. This thought, this desire, was an instinctual one for monsters of his kind. He instantly understood that his wish could come true if he ate a great many dreams. And once the thought was in his mind, it grew like a fever. More. I must eat more. The dark monster gave in to his basest impulses and rushed forward. He would find those of his kind, steal their dreams, and consume them all. The dark monster was a violent dream thief who attacked without discrimination or mercy. No one liked him. Of course they didn't. Soon, an order went up throughout the monster's world. His days of stealing dreams would be ended. His fellow monsters banded together in an attempt to take him down. But he fended them off and stole the dreams of all who dared threaten him. The dark monster would be human soon. He knew this, felt it. But as his conviction grew, the seasoning of the stolen dreams grew ever more bland. He remembered how delightfully sweet and filling they had been at first. But now, they were ashes in his mouth. The more dreams he ate, the more unsatisfied he became. It was as if, perhaps this is what happens when I eat dreams tainted with my siblings' desires. The dark monster finally understood. No amount of poor quality dreams could ever turn him human. And when he arrived at that realization, the small flicker of hope within finally went out. I believe I could be of great service to you. Now come, tell me your story. I can't believe this, sneers the voice when the monster finishes the tale of his past. You mustn't stay in this world. The only dreams you can eat here are dreadful. Enraged, the monster tries to drag the speaker from the shadows and crush it. But it doesn't work. No matter how hard he squeezes, the speaker only laughs. Oh, I have the perfect place for you, my friend. A place filled with nothing but the richest and most divine dreams. Who could possibly believe such a thing? But the monster has no other choice. Still, he is wary of the speaker, this thing that calls himself carrier. He angrily threatens him with death if the plan is a trick. But Carrier only giggles with delight. He produces a giant door out of thin air and gracefully motions towards it. The dark monster slowly walks into the abyss. Carrier watches. He chuckles. Now let us go to the world of the cage, where all our dreams come true. Cold steel flashes in twilight. The man's dagger disposes of his target in an instant. There is not even the opportunity for last words. The man is a nameless mercenary hired by his homeland. His job is to accompany a gifted assassin and assist her whenever she eliminates important figures. Before he can even sheathe his blade, he hears the sound of steel whistling through air behind him. Another target falls, never to rise again. A beautiful assassin stands over the body. Her eyes are the cold ice of riverbed obsidian. She is the assassin he is tasked with assisting. The pair has accomplished much in the short time they have been together. "You're quick," says the woman, as she wipes a bit of blood from her blade. It is a rare moment, for she is not the type to offer praise. Clearly, she was impressed with his blade work. The man is proud to rub shoulders with the woman and finds himself growing more infatuated with her by the day. No, not infatuation. Love. But for this woman, who was born to an assassin family, love is an unfamiliar concept. One day, she will be placed in an arranged marriage in order to continue her bloodline. Her family would never recognize a union between her and a nameless mercenary such as himself. And even if they did, the woman does not seem remotely interested in romance. Yet that is why. That is precisely why. Her otherworldly beauty is a naked scalpel glimmering in the evenfall, and it enraptures him. Yet the man knows he is not her equal, not as he is now. So he bottles his emotions deep in his heart, completes his mission, and sets out on his own. Years have passed since the mercenary and assassin last crossed paths. The man abandoned her suddenly, his torrent of emotions left unsaid and unmentioned. Yet the passing of time has not dulled his feelings. Indeed, they have only grown more acute with each rising of the sun. He has moved beyond attraction, beyond love, It is obsession now. He forgets the worth of all other things and uses his tenacity to discover repeated success in his trade. Eventually, his hard work pays off, and he finds himself the lord of a fine manor. And then, finally, the day arrives. The day of their reunion. The silhouette of a woman shimmers into existence. The figure moves with hidden grace and purpose. Her appearance has been disguised with false hair, heavy makeup, and a cloak. Her identity should be an enigma, a mystery. Yet he knows. One glance at those obsidian eyes is all he needs. She passes him without a word or look. Her presence is 1,000 icicles on his skin. He can sense her skill, feel it. She is something beyond all measure. It takes all of the man's considerable will not to collapse in the presence of her aura. The air quivers as they pass. He reaches for the dagger in his pocket, but the woman slips past before he can act. He turns to watch her go, squirming with bubbles of delight. He has been waiting for this day. It is why he worked so desperately to gain fame and fortune enough to own his own estate. So he could finally become her target. Night falls on the day of the mercenary's reunion with the assassin. He waits for her in a bamboo grove lit by the haze of the moon. The dense thicket should prove an advantage against the woman's long robes. He has also surrounded himself with traps learned during his long years of mercenary work. Of course, she sees through all of this. Yet despite her awareness of the situation, she slips through his traps and stands boldly before him. She is bewitching, moonlit rapture. His breath catches in his throat as he grasps his dagger. Somehow, impossibly, her allure has only grown stronger over the years. The man suddenly understands that she can never be his. No, impossible. Such a thing would only serve to sully her beauty, as one might dull a blade while fighting a sandstorm. He has but one desire left. Though the woman has come for his life, he now intends to claim hers. Despite the thick foliage around her, the woman moves like liquid smoke through an infinitesimal opening. She is a wraith, a willow, a fiendish dread that slips and flickers like a goddess dancing on an ocean of endless ice. I am going to kill her. He burns this image into his memory, then quietly seals it away. And in doing so, in looking off to limitless futures, He knows that if this country ever meets its end, she will never again look upon another man. His dagger flashes. Her katana gleams. A second strike. A third. The man's arm is grazed, but he deftly turns the attack aside and leans his whole being into his counter. Ripples from the honeyed act echo in his heart. For in the whole of paradise, this is the greatest pleasure he has ever known. Each time the man brandishes the dagger, he feels the woman's body growing ever closer to his own. Crimson seeps from her wounds to lie gleaming in the light of the moon. The woman staggers, her eyes empty. She has lost much blood. This is the peak of my pleasure. Yet, as the man grips his dagger and readies to end her life, he realizes something. His intellect is honed, sharp. His obsession deep, pure. These things have driven him to the brink of madness. And he is tumbling into endless hallucination. He rallies himself and dispels the illusion, reclaiming his sanity against all odds. But the moment the woman's katana grazed his arm, his fate was already sealed by the poison on the edge of the blade. His foggy consciousness desperately attempts to train his vision on the assassin. But she is a featureless blur. The man cannot read her expression. He does not know how she looks at him. Yet he keeps going all the same. I am the one who must end you. Fuel returns to his soul, and he brandishes his dagger anew. You should have stayed within the illusion, murmurs the woman. Her words drift through the air toward the man who lies crumpled in a pitiful heap. After so many years, his blade work had grown even more precise. And because she knew this, she did not wish to kill him. Instead, she wished only to render the powerful man powerless. Yet his intellect combined with her immaturity and ended up removing his future. I will remember your skill, she whispers. With a sad sigh, she takes her leave of the bamboo grove. The man's corpse gazes forlornly at the clouds that drift endlessly across the sky. And for reasons known to none, a smile on his face is brighter than the moon.
How do you fare, my prince? He asks about my condition as we walk through the forest toward the wasteland. Well enough, I say as I glance in his direction. But shouldn't you stop and conduct some maintenance? This forest air can't be good for clockwork bodies like yours. All is in good order, my prince. Do not trouble yourself. I know he only says this because he worries about my illness. I stop our progress for a moment and turn to him. And what if a fight finds us? We should check to be sure. He nods slowly before taking a seat. Then he powers down, causing the eyes behind his bandages to go dark. It's so much easier to start a war than stop one. Once the fighting starts, violence leads to distrust, creating a vicious circle where peace seems impossible. This is why we are currently traveling from country to country, to create a third power which might mediate negotiations and find a way to lead us out of this bloody war. But my status and bloodline mean there are many who wish me ill. Thankfully, my companion has saved my life time and again. He is a clockwork man, and there is little I can offer him. The best I can do is assist in his maintenance. I feel a tightness in my chest. My body grows heavy. Sweat slicks my hair against my head. It's clear my illness plans to claim me, one way or the other. Stifling a cough, I retrieve a bottle from an inner pocket. I snap off the seal and drink it down. It is the last of the medicine that holds my illness at bay. Once it wears off, I will know how bad my condition truly is. My breathing steadies. It is but a temporary reprieve, but it will do. Maintenance is almost finished. I return the empty bottle to the same pocket I took it from, and wait for my guardian to wake up. He won't worry now, at least for a while. The medicine will see to that. I can't afford to show him my true pain. And besides, it's not like I'm going to get better. Suddenly, my companion wakes with a whir. I'm operating well, he says. Thank you. Glad to hear it, I reply softly. Let's keep going. Yes, my prince. We have no time to waste, and no time to stop. That is why I decided to continue with the lie. It's the right thing to do. I know it is.
I am on a journey of revenge. The kingdom razed my home, killed my sister, and took everything from me. But its lust for power fed an unsustainable hunger for war, and it eventually collapsed. Still, scattered remnants of its forces remain. And I won't stop until every last one of them is dead. I tarry for a while in a small village. Under the midday sun, I hear a voice call for help. I see a kingdom soldier raise a fist and bring it down on the head of a woman. He moves to deliver a second blow. I leap in the way and take it myself before swiftly ending his life. The woman begins thanking me profusely, but I ignore her. I fight for revenge, not to save lives or spread justice. As I move to leave, the woman bars my path. Asking to see my prosthetic arm, she draws in close. She examines it carefully, looking it up and down. It was damaged when I took the blow the soldier intended for her, though I tried to explain that I can repair my arm. She waves me off with a dismissive grunt. "We've a skilled engineer in the village," she says. "Come along." Before I can think to protest further, she takes my hand in hers and leads me off. I am guided to an engineer so that my arm might be repaired. The engineer is indeed skilled, but lacks the needed parts for repairs. And unfortunately, it will be some time before they're available. Still determined to show her thanks, the woman huffs loudly, grabs my good arm, and drags me off anew. We end up in the village pub. She gathers the drinkers around her and spins an epic tale of how I saved her from the kingdom brigand. Soon, I find myself regaled with food, drink, and song from all corners. I take a bite of something and nearly swoon. I can't remember the last time I enjoyed a hot meal. When the woman leans in and asks how it tastes, I feel an unfamiliar smile slowly make its way across my lips. How
How long has it been since I smiled? Weeks? Years? More? I thought I'd lost the ability to do such a thing long ago. Eventually, the parts arrive, and my arm is finally repaired. The woman asks me how it feels, and I'm both surprised and delighted that it seems to move more smoothly than before. As I test it out, the engineer smiles at me and says, "Consider this my way of saying thanks for saving my wife." It turns out the engineer and the woman are married. She turns red as he talks about everything he loves about her. I can only chuckle and show a wry smile as I listen. Finally, she can take no more attention and leads me out of the shop. As we walk, she tells me they have been married almost 3 years. She also thanks me again for my actions from before. This time, I manage to face the woman and thank her for the assistance. I tell her my work in the village is done and I will be on my way. But that's not the entire truth. I'm also afraid of what might happen if I grow used to the warmth and kindness of others. The villagers all gather at the edge of town to see me off. "Come see us again real soon," says the woman. As I walk away, the last thing I see is her small hand happily waving goodbye. It wasn't long after leaving the village that I heard the news. A soldier was attacking the village in revenge. Before I even know it, I am on my feet and running like the very wind itself. I find the village in flames. The soldier is roaming about madly as he scours the village in search of every last person he can find. "That man was family," he cries as he puts another house to the torch. "All of you will pay for his death with your lives. My vision is fire." Before I even have the chance to feel my building rage, I engage the man in battle. My arm works even better than before. In a moment, I cut him down like a dog. When the deed is done, I walk around the village in search of survivors. In the very last house, I find the woman and the engineer with their arms wrapped around each other and their bodies still. I thought I had saved them, saved all of them, from a terrible fate that first night. But my actions had only been the impetus for an even greater tragedy. These innocent people had been caught in the cycle of revenge, and now their lifeless eyes stare accusingly up at me. Your power did this. Your hate. Your thirst for retribution. And you know what? They're right. I did this. It is all because of me. As I fight, I only add more links to the chain of revenge. But if I stop, the remaining soldiers will continue to commit their horrid atrocities. So I have to fight. I have no choice. But in so doing, will I too become an object of hatred in this world of never-ending slaughter? All that lays before my eyes is a crimson world of blood and fire.
Wind rustles in the trees. Crows caw softly in the gloaming. As I scan the quiet forest in search of any possible threat, the prince at my side murmurs, "It's so peaceful here." He is here, in search of a way to lead our country out of war. And as he travels from nation to nation, preaching his message of peace, I walk at his side to protect him from those who refuse to listen. But I am a clockwork man created for war, and no matter how much time we spend together, the truth of his message continues to elude me. I draw close to the prince as he contemplates the setting sun. I wonder why he would think this place to be peaceful. Perhaps it has something to do with the red hues of dusk. As the prince's disease worsened, so did grow his impatience. It would seem he desires to achieve peace as quickly as possible. So when I suggest we rest in a church until he feels better, it takes a good deal of effort to get him to agree. Today again, the prince's condition is poor, so we wait for nightfall in the church. I take this opportunity to ask him, what is a peaceful world? He looks at me with surprise, but a willful flame burns in his eyes. After a moment, a thin smile crosses his lips. He reaches out, puts a hand on my chest, and says, "It means you never have to hurt here." It must be a different sort of pain from wounds as I know them. He does not notice my lack of understanding and continues to talk. I simply nod my head, hoping it will bring him energy. The disease spreads. The prince's body withers and fades. When he can no longer stand, I travel alone to nearby villages in search of any food or medicine they can spare. In the villages, I see people driven mad by the horrors of war. They grieve for lost family. They curse their empty bellies. And they all turn their weapons on me, the Clockwork Man. One day, I find a single apple in the woods. My prince lacks the strength to eat it on his own. So I chew small bites and feed it to him as a mother bird would its own young. As I see his haggard cheeks and hear his final gasping breath, I feel a pain deep within my chest, and finally realize the truth of everything that my prince has been fighting for. It means you never have to hurt here, he had said. Oh. But why did it take such loss for me to finally understand? My body is ravaged by rust. My memories grow defective. Yet I stay by his side, my prince who time eroded. There is a gaping, empty hole in my chest. The pain I felt just before he died is gone. I will paint this church red. I will use the blood of humans who denied his salvation and now intrude on his slumber. In accordance with the promise we made that day, I will continue to protect him and the peace he desired forever.
My life's mission is to explore the entire world. For only great hardships can make me feel alive. Everything besides adventuring is merely a footnote. I wager I'll feel this way until the day I die. I've faced the challenge of many unexplored regions in my life. Mountains untrodden by man, scorched deserts, frozen islands, pitch-black forests, caves that lead to an endless abyss. So many adventures, I can't even remember them all. Just the other day, my wife and I learned that our long-awaited first child was in her belly. Of course, I wanted to help however I could. Which is why I left our snug house in the snowy mountains and began the long climb down. My destination is a small nearby town. How long has it been since I've made this trip? My wife is usually the one who does the shopping. In any case, I don't mind doing what I must to help out during this time. I haven't tasted the bustle of civilization in a long while. But I pay it little mind as I search for the shops my wife told me about. It's funny how quickly I get turned around in the streets. If only I was navigating a mountain path instead. As I wander about, a merchant calls me over. He recognizes me as a renowned adventurer and says he has items he wants me to look at. He has a keen eye, this shopkeeper. The shopkeep lays out several items across his display. Flint to create bonfires, a talisman that wards off illness, and ice that never melts, even under the hottest of suns. All extremely useful items on any adventure. He claims these items are all in high demand, so I buy them on the spot. Lady Luck is really smiling on me today. The moment I leave the stall, reality smacks me in the face. I spent all our money and didn't get a thing my wife wanted. Ah, well, nothing to be done about it now. So I sell my coat and use the money to buy what I came for. Not the smartest thing to go coatless in the dead of winter, but I'm hardy. I'll find a way to survive. Mine is a body forged in the fires of countless journeys. It'd take more than this to do me in. As I make my way back up the mountain, a blizzard suddenly comes upon me. I'm cold, really cold, but I spy a nearby rocky shelter and decide to hunker down. As I settle in, I try to start a bonfire with my new flint. But the moment I strike it, the damn thing shatters into pieces. It's a dud. Talk about unlucky. Somehow, I managed to make it home through the wind and snow. When my wife sees me, she demands to know why I was wandering around without my coat on. So I tell her the whole crazy story. Still, I'm pretty excited about my 2 remaining treasures. That night, I am plagued by a high fever. You expect this kind of thing when you walk around in a blizzard without a coat, but it means my talisman that wards off illness is also a bust. Another dud. Can you believe it? Trying to kill the fever dead, I put my never-melt ice in a sack and set it on my forehead. I bet you can guess how this goes. I take the bag of lukewarm water off my head, toss it aside in disgust. That damn shopkeep took me for all I had. Still, it's not all a loss. I live on a snowy mountain. So, if it's ice I need, I just have to walk outside.
The wife's in a terrible mood. It's because I forgot her birthday, which, yeah, was a mistake. But does she need to be this angry? She's not being reasonable, and I'm going to tell her so. Uh-oh. The moment I open my mouth, she launches into a rant about all of her woes. I don't understand women. I'm crude. I'm insensitive. She starts unloading all sorts of stuff on me. Blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm sure as hell not going to just lie back and take all that. You know, this is what I hate about you, I snarl. You're always bringing up these stupid, unrelated issues. The moment the words leave my mouth, I know I've gone too far. One look at her face is all I need to realize that. She points to the door, and I know what that means. And while part of me is annoyed as hell at all of this, I decide to get out while the getting's good. I escape to the mess hall. My friends come up to me and ask what's the matter. Guess I look a little pale. But when I tell them I had just had a blow up with the wife, their concern dissolves into peals of laughter. After they have their fun, they tell me I'm the one at fault. Each one has a different strategy I can use to make amends. As they talk, I realize they're pretty good pals, all in all. I decide to put their plan into motion. I return to the room and pick my wife up off her feet. She seems perplexed, but intrigued, which is good. I then start spinning her around the room in a dance, showing off my strength as well as my moves. But of course, I take it too far. By the time I realize it, her face has progressed from confusion to downright fury. So before I can mess things up more, I dash out of the room. As I think about what to do, the unit commander appears. Word of our marital squabble has spread throughout the base. He warns me it will be a hindrance to our operations. Since he seems to care, I tell him what happened and ask for his advice. He chuckles a little. He then tells me he doesn't have any ideas and doesn't care enough to think of any. But then he gives me a piece of paper, something people apparently used long, long ago in order to make amends. I don't know what he's thinking, but he's not the kind of man to act without purpose. I decide his words must have some meaning. Apparently, paper is a relic of the past used for writing. That's when it comes to me. Since I usually say too much, I'll write a letter to my wife instead. But I'm not sure what usually goes into a letter. Maybe I should start with thanks for everything she does for me every day. No, wait. An apology is probably better. I write letter after letter as I think of my wife. I write, then erase, write, then erase. Write, then erase. After 10 or so attempts, the letter is finally complete. I go home and hand it to my wife, whose eyes go wide. This could just be because a letter is so unfamiliar, but more likely it's because I'm genuinely apologizing. Once she reads the letter, she smiles and looks at me. Then she wraps me up in a hug. It would seem all is forgiven. My messy writing on the crumpled paper was simple. I will protect and love you with all of my life. This, I swear. No matter what the future may hold.
I think back on the past. On memories of the boy who will never come home. And on the happy family in the photo. My husband embraces me. His warmth is the only constant in my life. And as he holds me, my chilly heart slowly melts. I never want to lose him, I think. Never. A deafening rumble suddenly reverberates throughout the base, along with a siren. The announcement that follows tells us what we never wanted to hear. Flowers have invaded the base itself for the very first time. Cradling the photo, my husband and I dash for the exit. It would be folly to fight the flowers unarmed, so we decide to evacuate instead. The base is already a stage of tragedy. Our fellow prisoners, unable to fight the sudden army of flowers, have been decimated. Among the bodies, we hear a voice calling for help. But we know that stopping means death. So we run, and don't look back. As we do, we offer a silent apology. We run for our lives, but the flowers are everywhere. Eventually, they corner us and launch their assault. This is it, I think. But the expected pain never comes. Instead, my husband leaps in front of me and takes the attack in my place. Somehow, he is still alive. But he will not survive another strike. He screams at me to run, but instead, I grip the photo and step forward. Our child will protect us, my darling. And if not, at least I will die at your side. Just as the Flower's next attack is about to land, armed prisoners appear with our commander and cut it down. The defense operation has been put in motion, and somehow, the two of us are... My husband's wounds look painful, but he just chuckles and says he's proud to have such badges of honor. I'm relieved to see he's in good enough shape to joke. The two of us retreat with the commander. My husband's wounds are deep, and he is taken to the infirmary for surgery. I pray fervently that he will make a full recovery. I hand the photo to my husband as a good luck charm. Our boy is looking down on you. Everything will be all right. My husband clutches it to his chest as they wheel him away. My heart grows cold. How much time has passed since he went in? He'd been joking around, so surely he's going to be okay. But what if? I feel like the uncertainty will crush me under its weight. Finally, my husband emerges from the infirmary. Seeing him safe, I let out a small gasp of relief. However, he has no memory of the recent past. And the photo has also disappeared. The memory loss is due to shock and only temporary. But no one can explain where the photo went. My husband, as if sensing my unease, wraps me up in another tight embrace. As I feel his warmth, my concerns melt away once more. So long as you are safe, that's all that matters. It is the only thing that matters.
I inhale a lungful of battlefield air, rich with a mix of gun smoke and blood. Our operation was a smashing success, but while my fellow soldiers are content going back to base and celebrating our victory, I'm heading out on a new mission. Because the only time I feel alive now is when I fight. Revenge drove me. It's all that ever drove me. But then I ended up killing my own father. And on top of that, it turns out the people I called my family were actually my enemies. What a goddamn joke, right? Anybody else laughing here? When I return to reality, I see piles of corpses everywhere. It's all my doing, this carnage. But instead of rage or sorrow, I just feel a strange sense of calm. Honestly, killing is the only thing that brings me peace anymore. Suddenly, an explosion shakes the ground. A close one. The sky turns red as flames arc up toward the heavens. As I stare at this crimson sky, my heart begins to race. I set out in search of someone to fight, hoping to calm my jangled nerves. The war has turned in our favor. The enemies we don't kill, we send running into the night. But it still isn't enough. I find myself picking my way across a viscera-strewn battlefield, just in case we missed a straggler. After a bit, I sense someone hiding behind a collapsed house. Battle fever floods my senses. I raise my sword and leap out of hiding, prepared to strike down my terrible foe. But there, crouching on the ground, is a little girl. God damn it, I think. We're under orders to protect civilians, which means I gotta drag this kid around with me until I find a place to dump her off. What a pain in the ass. I extend a bloody hand and grab the girl by the arm. She screams. I don't care. I give her a good yank and start walking. She responds by pinwheeling her other arm and toppling face down into the mud. That's when I realize the kid is blind. The girl, still sitting on the ground, grabs my hand and says, "Oh no, mister. You're bleeding. Are you okay?" The question hits me wrong, and I smack her hand away. After that, we wait in a long, uncomfortable silence. It's not my blood, I say finally. As much to break the silence as anything else. I wipe my hand on my pants to clear off as much gore as I can, then help the kid up. Her hands are so damn soft. I'd forgotten hands could be soft. The only thing mine are good for anymore is murder. It's hard to believe her hands and mine are the same thing. With no other choice, I throw her across my back and start working my way back to base. I can feel the kid's warmth against me. And there, in the strange silence you always get on a battlefield after a fight, the only thing I can hear is the beating of my own heart. Eventually, we make it to a field hospital. It's a nice place, actually, with sunlight coming through the windows and wind rustling the trees. The kid seems okay with it, at least. She lies on a bed, her gaze trained on the window to her side. "Hey, kid," I ask her. "What were you doing on the ground back there?" She pauses for a second, then speaks. She tells me how she'd been neglected by her parents her whole life, before they finally abandoned her once the war came home. When her story is done, she turns her head in my direction and asks, "What color is the sky right now, mister?" I take a look out the window. "Blue," I say. A nice, deep blue, She closes her eyes. I have no idea why, and begins to try and imagine what blue might look like. I don't know why I feel uneasy here, but I do. Something about being near this kid puts me on edge. My heart is racing again, but in a different way than the discomfort I've felt for my entire life. And as I try to identify what this strange feeling is, I picture the color of the sky in the girl's imagination.
What should I do? I sit in the briefing room, continuing to turn the problem over and over in my mind. I've been up all night thinking about it, and am now beyond exhausted. See, I have to write a telegram to my family back home, but I can't think of a single thing to say. My squad came back victorious from battle a few days ago, at which point everyone sat down and wrote their parents just like always. I joined the army 8 years ago, and I haven't contacted my family a single time. It would be strange to send them something now. Crazy. And every time I think back on my time with them, I come up with more excuses not to do it. My fellow soldiers are loud and boisterous, like always. I begin to wonder what kinds of messages they send. I sit still and listen in, hoping it will give me a better idea of what to write. One man says he sent his parents a telegram about being promoted to captain. It's not true. He made it up. But his parents love hearing stories about how successful he is, so he figures it's okay to stretch the truth a little. Another man's telegrams always focus on memories he and his parents made together. Today's letter is all about how they used to play ball with each other. He claims it will distract them from how lonely they are now that he's gone. Everyone speaks so cheerfully about the thought they put into telegrams home. And though they are my comrades and my friends, I can't help but feel the gulf between our lives. The worlds we grew up in were too different. Here's the thing. Ours is a country that values military might above all else. But my parents, they're both anti-war activists. Needless to say, their beliefs earned me more than my share of dirty looks and unkind whispers when I was a kid. One day, the army shot and killed my father. What a joke, right? He spent his entire life preaching peace, then died without accomplishing a single damn thing. I took a lesson from that. Give your life some meaning. Make it matter. Later, I decided to join the army and climb the ranks. But when I told Mom about my plan, she said I was insane. The moment she spoke those words, I knew I had to get out of that house. So I slammed the door and stormed off, then spent years trying and failing to forget the empty look in her eyes as I departed. In an ironic twist, I never did climb the ladder the way I swore I would. But today, after 8 years spent trying to bury every last memory of my family, I finally figure out the telegram I want to send. It's an apology for everything. I'm nervous after I send the telegram. What if she doesn't respond? Hell, what if she disowns me? I couldn't blame her for that. But before I can think too hard about it, I get her response. Honey, I'm just so glad you're alive. Why was my father an anti-war activist anyway? Why did my joining the army weigh so heavily on my mother? I don't have a clue, because I've spent my whole life actively avoiding a search for those answers. The mistakes I've made in the past will never go away. But as I think of my military companions and their families, another thought. I risked my life for these people, gave everything for them. And I'm more proud of that fact than anything else. But while I salute them, I doubt it will convey these feelings that well up within me.
When I open my eyes, a strange sensation lingers in my mind. It appears I have been dreaming. In my dream, I was flying before I fell from the sky. It is the same dream I always have. I hear dreams are what humans experience while undergoing memory reorganization. But if this is true, why do I have this dream? I have never flown. I have no memories of it. Maybe I only wish I could fly. Or maybe it's an influence from my older sister. The original. I didn't dream today. Or maybe I did and I just don't remember. I hear that's possible as well. Though you'd think I would know, considering that I'm dealing with my own body. We constructs are not supposed to need sleep. Not to say that we could perpetually act autonomously, just that it was planned we'd undergo regular maintenance instead. But I'm different. I'm the only one who sleeps, who dreams. I dream of memories that do not belong to me, memories that intermingle with my own feelings. I do not know why I am the only one to do so. But my dreams are indispensable to me. I need them. I dreamed again today. Or rather, I remember my dream. I dreamed I met someone living in a small forest hut. I concentrate on the sensations I felt while sleeping, and I am overcome by the sense I am unable to breathe. This memory most certainly belonged to my elder sister. I cannot easily reach my elder sister's memories. It is like trying to navigate a path covered in fog. Perhaps this is an effect of her losing control. But my dreams are so far removed from reality. After all, I have never seen a human before. When I finally exit the facility and make my way outside, I find more lush nature and ruined cities than in my memories. And I also find hordes of machines. But I see no humans anywhere. Not a single one. The sight is so different from my elder sister's memories when she used to live on the surface. How long have I been asleep? How long did I dream? There's no way for me to know the answer. Will I ever reach the place from my sister's memory? The only clues I have come to me as I dream.
Images of outlandish scenery race through my mind. Where am I? Why am I here? I can't remember anything. My memory has abandoned me. I had something I needed to do, right? I definitely had something I needed to do. I find it difficult to gather my thoughts. Suddenly, a voice appears in my consciousness. I'm afraid this all comes at a cost. You're going to lose your voice, your senses, your... Are you certain? A voice. My will. My speech. My hope. Everything. This girl in white. Pain constricts my chest, stirs my empty memory. I know that girl. She was my... I can't remember. Who am I, anyway? These hands, these legs, this body. Am I human? No, I'm not human. I wasn't human. I got this body when I accomplished my objective. In this bleak world, I ate the dreams of people and desired to become human above all else. But why is it so damn painful? I am finally the human I wished to be. So why? You need to collect more dreams, dear. That voice echoes in my head again. Now that I'm human, why do I have to do this? Fragments of memories pierce my heart like thorns. An impatience I don't understand drives me forward. The girl in white. Me, a human. I have to do something. Otherwise, there's no turning back. That's all I know. I want to be human. I want to be human. I want to be human. That should have been my only goal in life. But now that I've accomplished it, not only am I not happy, I don't even understand these feelings of guilt roiling inside me. I wander the darkness I have no way to tell what happened to my face. But this slender physique, this fluffy hair, the collar and manacles that clamp down on me. Oh yes, I know exactly who I am. The girl in white. I can't get her out of my head. Who is she? Why do I look like her? What did I do to her? What did she do to me? I hear the sound of water splashing in the darkness. Hey, Mr. Monster. When you become human, will you still be my friend? I know, she said. Yes, she did say something. My scattered fragments of memories slowly come together. How long have I been asleep? I sit up in discomfort and stand on the cold stone floor. I dreamt of the girl over and over again. What precious times we spent together. All my memories came back in my long sleep. Once again, I stand in the cage. I need to go back to her as soon as I can. I need to give back what I've stolen. Well, look who's finally up. An odd object floats up and speaks to me, pretending I can't imagine anything more audacious. But I will have to rely on the thing for now. I've lost so much. So much. But at least I have my memories. I retrace my steps through the cage in order to save her. Once she's back to normal, I will reply to the question I had left unanswered. And I will say, yes, I will be your friend.
This is where I play. An old ruin a little ways from my house. It's my special place, and I don't want to tell anyone about it. I always come here when I want to be alone. But one day, there was someone else here, which had never happened before. It was an older girl reading a book in the shade. I remember she looked kinda sad. I could tell right away she was a noble. Her clothes were beautiful, and she was the prettiest person I'd ever seen in my life. After a second, she saw me staring and gave me a weird smile. "You want this book?" she asked me. "I'm done with it." I took it from her, but I was really nervous the whole time. I'd never actually talked to a noble before. The book she gave me was a collection of children's stories. It had tons of pretty pictures, and I've read it every single day since.
Each story was about a princess who fell in love with a prince. It was so different from my own life, and it helped me forget how sad everything was for me, if just for a little while. But the book was also weird. All the pictures of the princesses had been scratched over with black ink, and the last page of every story was torn out. While I was certain all the princesses would live happily ever after, I also wanted to know how the stories ended, which meant I needed to find the noble girl. Eventually, I decided to go into town and look for her. It's not just that I wanted to know how the stories ended. I also wanted to see her again. Because even though I knew we were worlds apart, I still thought I might be able to be her friend. There was a lively wedding taking place in town that day. And while the pretty bride in her white dress was surrounded by crowds of people, she looked so very lonely. I recognized the bride right away. It was the noble girl. Part of me wanted to run up and congratulate her, but I hesitated. Because even though everyone around her was smiling big, she looked like she was screaming on the inside. I had a dream. In it, the noble girl in her white dress was trying to tell me something. "Don't lose your will," she said. As she talked, red started to spread out from her chest, staining her nice white dress. The color was far too sad for the nice noble girl, and I woke up from the dream in a panic. I went back to playing alone in the ruins. But one day, I noticed something stuck between a couple of stones. It was one of the missing story endings. It showed the prince and princess at their happy wedding. Later, I started hearing rumors in town. Did you hear that noble lady ran away barefoot? Did you hear she was cackling madly? Did you hear she killed herself? But I know they're not talking about the nice noble girl. Because all princesses get to live happily ever after.
Alrighty, and that is it for the event stories and the character stories of Nier Reincarnation. More than likely there will be a lot more in the way of event stories in the future, and I am very much looking forward to speculating on what all of the things that we learned in the character stories were. But for now, Thank you all so much for following my playthrough of Nier Reincarnation, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye now!